down by the
Your
Iowa
source
border.
for everything paranormal.
Oh, hold up,
Parax. The views expressed and the opinions given by the individual host and their guests do not necessarily reflect those of Parax, its affiliates, or its sponsors.
Supernatural. Magic. Ghosts. UFOs. Bigfoot. Extraterrestrial. Psychic energy.
The Calling.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to The Calling. It's another Wednesday night, and it's looking pretty good out there, even though it is getting cloudy. They say we're supposed to get a little chance of snow. And Kimberly Juarez, are you guys supposed to get snow down there?
Yeah, something like that. I don't know, but it did get cold. It was pretty warm today, and then it got cold.
Yeah, it was like record warmness everywhere, and then we get used to it, and then all of a sudden it's like, good old Mother Nature is just going to slap you across the face and say, I am not done yet.
Exactly.
Exactly. So tonight's guest, I've been waiting for him to come on and wanting him back on for a very long time. He's the person that actually got me started in doing shows. I was on his show quite a few times, and he got me hooked on it and seen me jonesing. So then that was it. He got me going, and we got Bobby Sullivan on. Bobby, how you doing?
Hey, Jerry. Hi, Kimberly.
Hey, Jared. Hey, Bobby.
So what's new? What have you been up to? You working? You doing anything?
Jerry, I'm taking the world by storm here in the dual metropolitan area of Minneapolis.
That's good. That's good. I know you have.
I'm throwing my hat down on Nicollet Mall like Mary Tyler Moore on a daily basis. That's how I roll.
That's how I roll. Great. Did you ever get it back though? I don't know if she ever got hers back.
No, I throw mine into other dimensions.
Oh, gotcha. Well, the dimension today is one that kind of hits really close to home, especially with the passing of our boy Duncan. And tonight we're going to be talking, this is Bobby Sullivan, psychic healer. We're going to be talking about spirit energy of animals and their purpose in our lives. So tell me what...
I thought it was kind of an interesting topic. It's not something I talk about a lot, but I do encounter doing spiritual work with animals quite a bit in what I do, and mostly it's for clients that have stuff going on with their animals. And it's really kind of funny because it's like I will do let's say I'll go in and do a ghost clearing at a house, and it involves an animal of some sort, and all of a sudden that happens, and then I get like 3 or 4 calls within the next week of doing readings on animals or clearings for animals or whatever. So it seems to kind of open the floodgates for a short time, and I kind of laugh every time it happens, but it never fails.
Right. Well, I got a lot of questions for you here. We'll just jump into it. How does that sound to you?
Whatever you guys want to do, I'm here.
Okay.
I'm here.
Excellent. So, a question a lot of people have asked, and as a matter of fact, you and I, we kind of talked a little bit. Animal souls, are they different than ours?
Well, yeah, I think that animals really operate on a whole different plane than we do, and in whatever your belief is of human souls, I respect that. But so I'm just speaking kind of from my belief system. But I think that human beings are really part of the creator realm, right? Our souls come here to Earth to go through experiences, to learn by going through different events and making choices as we approach those events and go through them, right? And in that process, we're here to learn how to manifest and to create. Animals, unlike us, are not creator souls. They are, and so in that process, they don't have to reincarnate. They don't have karma. They don't come here to live life after life. And I'm not saying that animals can't reincarnate, but it's not their main purpose is not evolving to oneness or to a higher vibration. They're already there. Okay, so animals are in very similar to the elemental realm, are part of a group soul, and so they have already achieved that oneness. They're already part of that energy, and they come here really to be in service to us, to humans, and they help maintain the balance of the planet. They help, obviously the chain of nature that happens here helps sustain us and our life. And unfortunately, we aren't really, most of us aren't really operating in a reverent way to that nature, but they still come and they still serve us anyways. So their souls are not the same as ours. They're part of an oversoul or a group soul is the way that I look at it. So it means that they certainly, when they die and they return, they don't have to go and work on their lifetime like we do on the other side. They return to that oneness, and they have the ability to be individual, like on the other side, but they don't have to be either.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think it does. Kim, did you have a question?
So, Bobby, you're saying that they'll stay with us even in our afterlife as well?
Oh, we definitely can interact with our animals on the other side. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but they don't have to, right? I mean, it's they have that individual freedom to be part of that, and especially, when our souls leave here and we cross over to the other side. Typically, what I've seen and I've done, because I do past life regression work and life between life works, I join people on their voyage home to the other side, and numerous occasions they're greeted by their animals from this lifetime. The animals usually come running towards us first, and a lot of times when I'm doing clearings of earthbound spirits, their animals will come to this side to help bring them back.
Right.
And that happens quite a bit.
Wow. Well, we have a question here from Paranormal Writer Ralph in the chat room. He's asking, is a dog soul the same as a cow or even a chicken soul?
That's a really good question. They are from that same oversoul, yes, but dog souls can have previous lives as cow souls. They have the ability to kind of move within the animal kingdom or the nature kingdom, right? And this is a real tricky kind of concept, because I have done numerous regressions where people have been animals as well. Now that operates in a little different modality, because what happens is there are certain animal souls that have chosen to become creator souls, right? There are also human beings that will live lives as animals because they need that experience to bring with them into future lives. Okay, so I'll give you an example of that. Let's say you're coming in to be a community leader, right? Well, one of the things that you may do is you may download or experience that life of a honeybee, right? Because you need those experiences of operating in a group that is interdependent on each other, that works in harmony, that operates as a colony, and we can bring those experiences in our Akashic records back with us to draw upon that knowledge and that experience while we're here. So we can live lives as animals.
Okay. Huh. All right. Well, you did answer this one, but I'm going to go back to again. So animals can reincarnate. Do they, in reincarnation, do they have to say the same an animal or a different animal, or can they become human?
In my experience, they do not have to be in the same animal. Like the same soul or energy of an animal can be in multiple types of animal. Like I've seen people's cats in this lifetime that were their horse in another lifetime. And we build bonds with those energies. So we do reincarnate with the energy of our pets quite often.
Okay. Kimmy?
No, I think that's pretty cool. So you believe in reincarnation. So then they're not going to be, so they won't be with us for very long. Is that what you're saying? Is like, if I pass on and expect to see my, dead rabbit or some, my spirit rabbit or whatnot, but it might be reincarnated in another time, or do you understand what I'm saying?
No.
Okay.
Ask that a little bit differently.
Like, in other words, if I come and maybe my rabbit is already reincarnated, I mean, does it seem, well, never mind, it's okay.
No,
I guess I'm a little confused.
I understand what you're saying. And Kimberly, the way that this works is that because we're energetic beings, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
We actually have the ability to fragment our energy. So even when you're here in this lifetime,
mm-hmm.
right, there's a part of you that's on the other side, and there could be parts of your soul that are actually living in different lives and different bodies at the same time.
Okay.
We don't bring all of our soul energy with us into one life. We'd blow our bodies up, right?
Okay.
So because a lot of us have, a pretty high vibration, we will a lot of times reincarnate into different lifetimes at the same time. Okay. And I run into this doing regression work. But animals also have the ability to bilocate their energy as well. So they can be on the other side and they can be here at the same time. Does that make sense?
Right.
You're right.
It does.
That does make sense. So now, when an animal dies, be it a cat or a dog, whatever, and it's something that was very close to you and was protective of you and always was there to comfort you, so it has free will once it passes to be able to come back and to interact.
Yeah,
I mean, while
absolutely.
You're still alive.
And a lot of times, because our animals are so close to us, is they'll choose not to cross over, right? I can't tell you how many times I've walked into homes and seen their cat or their dog still there, right? And they will stay as long as we need them to be there, right? They will stay, or sometimes there are other animals in the house that need them because of the attachment, and so they'll hang around quite a bit. Actually, probably one of the first ghosts that I saw with my eyes was a cat, and it was a cat that we had that had passed, and I turned and looked and saw it sitting on a table across the room, and when I looked at it, he saw me looking at it, and then he jumped off the table and just disappeared.
Wow.
But there's some really cool photos that I think I've shown you, Jerry, that Echo, my partner Echo, has of a car accident scene, and a boy had died in the car accident, and his chocolate lab who had died the year before was sitting there waiting for him in the picture. Like, you could see the soul of the dog waiting for him, and you could see the boy's soul leaving the body. And and so that's like a really good example of how our animals stay connected to us. And a lot of times they're serving us however they can.
Right. Well, I think you did cover it, but Stephen Hill has a question. He said, can cats and dogs come back to you in their previous personality?
Oh, without a doubt. I think a lot of times they, when we reincarnate, humans and animals, we hold on to a lot of our key personality traits, unless if it goes against what we're coming here to learn. But our souls have personalities, and so do the animals.
Okay, excellent. And Kimberly, go ahead. I'm sorry.
You might see an animal choosing to live a very different path too. So if they were a big, strong workhorse that plowed your fields and did all the work in a previous life, they may choose to come into this lifetime and be a lapdog, and be completely cuddled and comforted. They can choose those roles just like we can.
Right. It's funny when you said lapdog, because Duncan, who we just had to put down yesterday, thought he was a lapdog at 60, 70 pounds. It was pretty incredible. All right. Wait a minute, 1 second here. Are animals present on the other side? Yeah, we kind of covered that. How do animals communicate with humans? I mean, other than, barking or something like that. I mean, they are pretty much totally empathic and can read what somebody can do, correct, roughly?
Oh, I mean, on so many different levels. Their sensory system itself is so heightened, right? So, I mean, their sense of smell and hearing and sight and all that kind of stuff. But their empathic sense is also very heightened for a lot of animals. And that's why you have animals that, are working to help predict heart attacks or diabetic attacks, or those kind of things. There's animals that that can predict seizures, and that can smell cancer, and it's just amazing their level of sensitivity. But in communicating with animals, we obviously they can respond to verbal commands and that kind of stuff, but they also can respond to nonverbal communication. And animals, typically, like spirits on the other side, don't speak in words, but they speak in pictures, right? So if you want to communicate with your animal, what you have to kind of do is to visualize that message in your head. So, like, let's say you're sitting at home on the couch and you've got... You want your dog to come over, you have to visualize a picture of your dog jumping off the couch and running to you, and then send that picture to the dog. It's almost kind of like sending an email. But it may be like you have to wait, because they may send a picture back of them laying on the couch and not coming. You know what I mean? Or they may put a picture of a big sausage in your head, which is what they're looking for, or whatever. But that's how I usually coach people on communicating with animals, is really using their visualization to send pictures, and you can send feelings to them too, right? They're empathic, so they can read that.
Excellent. I agree with a lot of what you said. Now, Kimberly, there's questions in the chat room. Do you want to take those?
So there's one question that I see. I don't know if I'm going ahead, but the one I see is: are there more paranormal investigators using animals to sense spirits?
Now, before you answer that, Bobby, I would just like to say, if I found somebody doing that, I'd probably take them out back around the corner and knock the crap out of them, because I really don't feel that animals should be used for paranormal activity, especially for sensing and everything else. Just got to get it out. That's just me.
I mean, I don't know. I've never seen anyone use an animal. Have you ever seen anyone using an animal?
Well, the only place that I really seen it was on Taps. I can't remember his name, used his dog Maddie in paranormal, in going on an investigation. Now, I've heard of people using their animals, and it was terrible. Paranormal writer saying that Zach Bagans used one a couple of times. I just think it's wrong. I just don't feel that is something that
I'm opposite of Jerry. I don't think, if you're not harming them in a certain way, because they notice things you don't. That's why they're so special, because they see things way beyond what you would see. So I think it's opposite in my opinion. So I'm not trying to be mean. I'm not going to go and do something really awful to my dog or cat, because I watch my cats all the time, or my dogs all the time seeing spirits, so.
Well, it's, I'm not going to yell at you for using it, but I mean, to me, for a dog.
You're going to take her out back and. That's upset.
If I seen it, but I didn't see it, so it's Kimberly's safe, and I wouldn't anyway. So she's my buddy, but
I my money on Kimberly. If you go out back, anyways, I think she'd kick your butt.
No.
Thanks, Bobby.
No, what I meant is that dogs already go crazy in that type of thing. Like. Well, for instance, I'm not going to say where, because I think we got the investigation, but there's a certain place that canines were trained, and the place is definitely haunted. When they brought the canines refused to go in, and yet they're making them go in. So I think you're taking, to me, this is me talking, you're taking a dog that has been trained to go after humans, to stop them, to save another human, and then all of a sudden you're bringing them into a place that is paranormally active, so it's totally different thing. So when you're bringing them in there, you're going to force them to go in there, and I think that what that does is, I think that it breaks down the courage and the self awareness that these animals have, and kind of, after that, it's just not right. I mean, I don't believe
kind of like, I kind of agree what you're saying, Jerry, because that's kind of like you already know that it's already got activity in there, and then you're taking a dog in there when he refuses. Then I'm going to let my dog go back to the car, and don't go in there, because I kind of get what you're saying, because you can put your animals in some certain dangers. You know what I mean?
Exactly. So, but, the thing is that, we already kind of talked about that dogs and other animals too are pretty empathic. So for them being empathic, why make them sit there and worry about you when they're going to see you going into a spot where, number one, they're terrified of it, and number two, they want to protect you, but they can't. You know what I mean? Right. So it's like you're going to give them an ulcer, Right. And I mean, cats you don't have to worry about, because cats, pretty much, to me, I do believe that cats are the guardians of the underworld, and so they, it doesn't really do nothing to them. They're going to watch them, at all costs and stuff. So they, still are going to let you know. Anyway, sorry, Bob. Bob, are you still there?
Yeah.
Me and Jared getting into it over here.
I don't really have a dog in this fight, if you know what I mean, but But you know, I will add though, I have seen situations where earthbound spirits do mess with animals, right? And I've been to probably 3 or 4 houses in the last year. I got called there to clear the energy because the spirits were harassing the animals in the house. And the cool part is that in one case in particular, this was like the coolest dog. It was like 120-pound mastiff, and the dog wouldn't go into this room for years. Like it just wouldn't go in the room. And we came in and cleared the house, and the lady sent me a picture of the dog in the room on the couch the next day. And it was so cool because that dog was being terrorized. And
right.
And so, you know, I think you have to always be careful about what you're exposing people or animals or anyone to when you're going into those kind of situations. Definitely. You know.
Right, most definitely. We're going to go back here a little bit. Paranormal Writer had asked a question too, right before Steve B's question. Exits in a traumatic exit for an animal more likely to get their spirit stuck here, like it does for a human and trauma?
Well, I don't know that. I don't know that I would say that. I mean, every animal is essentially. I'm looking for the right word, but they're taken care of by elementals and by guides, and so I don't think an animal is going to get stuck here if they choose not to get stuck here. I mean, they may have to stay and process the trauma, you know, like humans do a little bit, but I've never seen I've never run into an animal that was stuck, like I have with humans.
Okay.
There's a lot of help on the other side for animals, and there's souls that tend to the animals all the time, both on this side and the other side.
Right. Wow. Kim, I wasn't yelling at you, just to make sure you know that.
So Bobby, this is another question, and this is a good one too, because can an animal haunt a person or another animal? Because this is the funny thing that what we're talking about animals, because my rabbit passed away because of my cat. My cat got on top of my rabbit. You know, he knocked her over, got on top of my rabbit, and kind of suffocated her. Unfortunately, I wasn't here. And now, the other day, I noticed that the cat was kind of screeching to get out of the basement. And that's where, I don't know why, but it sounds kind of weird and bizarre, but he got so spooked. Do you think my rabbit is coming after him? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I would say, I mean, I wouldn't call it a haunting, but I think that animals can mess with other animals from that realm. Absolutely.
Yeah, because I noticed just not even 2 days ago, and this is so funny how Jerry put that on one of the lists of what to ask, and he did that. He got so spooked, like if the rabbit got on top of him and he took off, and it was just so bizarre. And that's where actually in the kitchen where he killed the rabbit.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, you know, I would think that they definitely could do that. The other thing that happens though when stuff like that goes down is there are energetic imprints. Okay. You know, so if there's trauma, sometimes animals can sense that as well.
Okay.
You know?
Right. Wow. Well, hey, guys, we're going to go on break. We're going to be right back. Just got somebody had sent me a question. We'll talk about that in 2 minutes. We'll be right back, everybody, so hang on.
Whether you're listening at home, at work, or anywhere, thanks for making Para X part of your day. Your source for everything paranormal. Para X.
UFOs, Bigfoot, cryptids.
All this is on the calling. Just think if you listen to the words of Para X.
Explore the darkness.
Find out what goes bump in the night. Did you hear that?
Did you see that? What's that bright light in the sky? Oh, we so need to investigate.
Calling all witches and sensitives.
Explore the paranormal.
With hosts
Shauna
and Vicky from
Geeks Paranormal.
Wednesdays
At 9 Eastern.
8 Central.
Let's explore. On paraxradio.com.
Haunted by shadow people in the middle of the night?
Do you secretly love all things creepy and spooky, enjoying ghost stories and horror fiction from the best storytellers?
Do you have a true ghost experience you want to share, but no one will believe you?
If yes, listen to the professionals on What Are You Afraid Of? Horror Paranormal Show Friday nights at 9 p.m. on Para X Radio and at www.whatareyouafraidofpodcast.com.
What are you afraid of on Para X?
Our creepy and demented hosts are on call to provide you with all your spooky needs with true ghost stories, interviews, indie music, and new horror fiction. We are ready to scare you.
Para X.
All right, we are back. This is Jerry with The Calling, along with Kimberly Juarez. And just want to let you guys know that this show, if you haven't caught the first half and you're like, look at the chat room, they're going kind of crazy, this must be a pretty good show. Well, I will have it on our website tomorrow. Our website is www.thecallingradioshow.com. It'll also be put on our YouTube channel, which is The Calling. You'll be able to see it on there. And don't just stop at this show. I mean, my God, Parax has tons of really cool shows. You got the Gathering every Tuesday night from 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, only on Parax. And you also have the He Said, She Said, the Cryptid Show, which is on Sunday nights from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Central Standard Time also, too. So even after this show, stick around for the ladies of Geeks Paranormal. They're in the chat room right now, and I'm sure that they'll put up exactly what they're going to have on their show tonight. So do not forget about those guys. So, okay, so now during the break, Bobby brought up a point of an old SNL skit that they had with Dan Aykroyd and Jane Curtin, and where it just kind of fell in good, but I could never call Kimberly an ignorant, but anyway, it was funny. So now, one of the things, a person just messaged me and asked me to ask this: do insects count as animals, and do they have souls, and can they, what can they do, Bobby? I'm just curious about this one.
Yeah, I mean, they're all part of the natural kingdom. So, and none of them really have souls like we do. They're part of an oversoul, and so it is. It's all part of the same, the same thing.
Gotcha. Nice. Okay, so now this is kind of interesting. In a friend of mine, Rini Rodriguez in Pelican Rapids, we did an investigation, and it was funny is that when some of the investigators came on up, the dog name was Carlos, and it was a little black Chihuahua, and I don't like Chihuahuas whatsoever, but this guy, he was cool. I mean, he was black. I've never seen a black one before, and while I was sitting there, he come running on up, jumped up on my shoulder, and just looked at me and gave me the eye like, yo, what's up, man? And then once our other investigators came in, he immediately ran down, stared at him, not in a threatening way, but stared at him, and immediately went over to his human, which was Rini, and peed on her. So to mark her. So are animals still like that even after they leave us, that they're that protective, that they're always going to be there to, I suppose like empathically can let you know that, there's somebody there or somebody that you just met that is not, that shouldn't be there, or, you know what I mean?
So, Jerry, are you asking if soul or spirit, animals in spirit form pee on us?
No. Are they that protective, or are they that, they're that protective of us when they were alive. Are they still going to be that protective? And, the dog marking is obviously a protective thing to keep a certain person away, because animals do, tend to mark their territory and stuff.
Yeah, I think any spirit that doesn't cross over is going to hold on to their same traits until they cross over. Now, if they're earthbound, yeah, they're still going to hold those same emotions, those same behaviors, all of that kind of stuff. When you cross over to the other side, you usually, humans will release a lot of our ego-based behaviors, but I think animals will as well.
Gotcha. Okay. Kimberly? Kim? Did she leave the show?
No, she muted.
I muted my things because the dog was barking. So, can spirit guides show up as animals or spirit animals?
Was your Chihuahua calling Jerry names? Is that what was going on?
That's hilarious. No, but I mean, do they, like my spirit guides, how do I know what my spirit guide animals are, and do they become our spirit guides? Are, just our animals who've passed?
So are you asking if animals can become spirit guides?
For us, yes. Or even the ones that when they were alive at one point, and then they pass on and they become our spirit guides. Do they do that too?
No.
Okay.
No, I don't think animals will become our spirit guides. Spirit guides are really from the angelic realm or from the creator realm, right? And that's not to say that our animals can't be with us in spirit, but guides are really there to serve a specific purpose, and that's to help us sort of go through our charts and achieve the things that we've chosen to come here to do before we've come here to do. Kimberly, I never say never, but more than likely our animals aren't, most people in our lives will never become our guides. And the reason for that is because guides have to maintain a kind of a detached energy. Mm-hmm. And the reason for that is because let's say you're going through a hardship, right? And it was your grandma who is now your guide. She's going to have a hard time watching you or helping you kind of go through that hard stuff because she's going to be emotionally attached.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Okay, I've got a question for you, Mr. Robert. This actually, I seen that Big Bird in the chat room had just stated. Okay, I have never asked who my guides are. How do you know? How does a person know if they have an animal guide?
Well, I think what we're talking about is like spirit animals.
Right.
That's kind of what my inkling is. And spirit animals are a little different than spirit guides. Spirit animals are like the archetype or the energy of that animal, that they can come in and be and bring that energy in for us when we need it in our lives, right? So, like, if you look at the energy of squirrels, right? Squirrels are really good at gathering. They're really good at preparing. They're really good at, working to get ready for things. And if we need that energy, then we can pull that spirit animal energy in, and the energy of the squirrel will help us in the same way that an eagle has its traits and the bear has its traits, and all of those animals. So I don't, and this is not really my expertise, but what we're talking about is totem animals or spirit animals, and which is very big in the shamanic world. But it's all based, I think, in the nature energy, right? And we pull in what we need as we need it.
Gotcha. Okay. So, no, just kind of going off animals for just a moment. How does somebody know if they have a spirit guide?
Well, Jerry, every one of us has spirit guides.
Okay.
There's no one on this planet that is guideless in any way or shape or form. Again, I never say never, so there might be some highly evolved souls that don't need guides that are here. But most of us are all going to have guides. And most of us are going to have more than one guide, right? A lot of times there are highly evolved beings like angelic beings that are kind of our overseeing guide, or it's a highly evolved soul of some sort. And then they're also working with other spirits that are training to be guides or that are in that process that are working with us as well. And we will tend to have one or two guides that stay with us our whole life. And then we'll also have guides that come in when we need certain things. So let's say when you're starting a family, right, you may pull in a guide that can help you be a father. Let's say you're starting a new job as an engineer. You may pull in a guide that has lived lives as an engineer that's going to come in and help you with that. There are all sorts of different reasons why we pull different guides in. A lot of times they have expertise or energy, but those are coupled with the guides that work with us from our very first incarnation all the way through our evolution back into the oneness or into ascension.
Okay. Kim?
So let me think of other things. Okay, so now I know this sounds odd, but so now I'm going to go into a total different thing.
Let's go there.
Okay. So there is a question so Jerry's got these different questions, and here's one of them. He says, do aliens ever resemble animals? Do you know what I mean? That actually is a very common thing in alien lifetimes. So if you think about all of the species that are out there, right, and you look through the dimensions, we're sitting here in third, fourth, fifth dimensional living here on the planet right now. We're kind of going from third dimension in through the fourth into fifth dimension, right? Right.
Well, there is life that extends all the way up the dimensions, and those species have evolved on other planes, right? So it's kind of like in Star Trek or Star Wars or whatever, where you see planets of reptilian type beings, right. Or you see Sirius is related to the cat, right? There are planets that resemble different bugs. So the evolution of those species goes all the way up the dimensional chain. So personal belief, but there are many planets that inhabit those beings. I did a regression for myself, and I came into the regression and was working in the past life for King Solomon, and one of the things I was doing was negotiating for him, and we worked with I came into the past life in this huge cave, and I looked down in the regression, and I saw this man sitting on a throne, and it was this huge, very tall man, but he had a lion head, and he was basically like a being that was, he was like an earth king or someone that was living on the planet, and has been here for many years, and represented a people that had evolved out of the lion energy.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. So Steve B kind of asked a question. He said, are angels a whole separate entity and not a spirit?
Angels, so if you really look at the different kingdoms of our world, right? There is basically the natural kingdom, which includes the animals and the plants and all that stuff. There is the creator world, which we inhabit, and then there's the angelic realm as well. And so the angelic realm is very different from the natural world. The angels or the angelic realm, they also are not reincarnating souls. They don't have to reincarnate. They don't have to go through karma. They don't have to go through all of that stuff. So their energy is, and they were all three of these kingdoms were really created for us to help each other, right? The elementals or the nature kingdom is here to hold the structure of the earth. They're here to, there's elementals, and this is kind of a different topic, but not really. There are elemental beings that we've lived with on this planet for hundreds of thousands of years that are here to take care of nature, right? There's earth spirits, there's the gnomes and the trolls and the fairies and all that. There's water spirits, there's air spirits, there's fire spirits, and they basically weave and hold together the structure of our planet, right? We live in that planet, and then the angelic realm really brings the light. They bring the divine energy into the planet. So all of us are kind of doing different functions, but we support each other and we give each other stuff to do, Right.
Interesting. I'm going to sneak a question in, and I know it's supposed to be Kimberly's turn, but I'm going to jump in front of you. Do animals really become extinct, or do they go somewhere else?
Well, it's a really good question. I think that, again, this is just from my own experience, that, we as human beings have really abused the earth, and we have operated in an irreverent way for many thousands of years. And what we have to remember is that the earth is actually a living being, and she takes care of herself, and she's on that whole ascension process. She's going through this dimensional shift just like human beings are, right? That being said, that the animals that inhabit this realm are also going through their own process, and when they get to a point where they are no longer living on the surface of the planet, and what we view them as being extinct, they actually recess their energy into the world that exists in the center of the earth. And in the center of the earth is a whole nother, it's a whole nother ecosystem. There's a whole nother dwelling there. And what happens a lot of times is once they've served their purpose on the planet, they can withdraw their energy to there. Sometimes they resurface. I just saw, it was a snake that they haven't seen on the planet in, I don't know, some thousands of years, and they just found one in the jungle. It was a real colorful snake. I can't remember what it was called, but so animals do have the ability to pull their species back, and they can bring it forward. Yeah.
Yep. There was also like the deer that was found that was supposed to have been extinct from the early 1900s, recalled it again, seen it in 1983 when they put the photo out, and then again like 2 or 3 years ago, and they were shocked. But, like you said, is that the Earth, Gaia, is self-sustaining to herself. She takes care. But the thing is, it's funny, is that us humans don't. We don't care. And then that's what's going to, that's a whole nother show. I know that, and a whole nother thing. But it's crazy. But anyway, so let's get back to animals. Kimberly, go ahead.
Well, they're saying, yeah, I kind of agree with what Bobby is saying, because there's, like you said, Jerry, they've been showing more animals that were extinct long times ago, hundreds of years ago, and now they're coming back. Like there's even a Wolverine-like creature that way different that had them like hundreds and hundreds of years ago, and now they are starting to come back. So. And then there's a question too, I think Stevie B, because I wanted to see what he had said. Hold on, let me see if I can bring it up. Oh, I don't think I can. Oh, it went past. Anyways, but I just think that's interesting how that is, that it does that. So, Jerry, do you see that question from Stevie B? He just asked a question, and I can't. Oh, there I go.
Oh my God! You got to stop drinking before the show, girlie.
No kidding. Okay, he says, Bobby, what are your thoughts of dark matter and dark energy? Not referring to good or bad.
Well, we're getting a little off topic, but that's
well,
cool.
Yeah, it's a little off topic, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm not quite sure what he's referring to. Like, okay. I'm not. I'd need to have the conversation with him to understand what he's talking about.
What I think he's saying is that there's evil, there's good, right. But instead of being evil and good, dark matter and dark energies would be more physical and seen type of thing. Are you following me?
I think part of what we have to remember is that one of the laws of our existence here on Earth is polarity, right? And duality. And that's part of our human experience. That's how we learn, is by experiencing duality, right? So if we're here to essentially learn about love and acceptance, we get to come here and learn about hate and abandonment and all of those opposites, right? So we are, like I said, we're here on a path to understand who we are in our oneness with spirit or God or whatever you want to call it. Mm-hmm. There is a path to understanding who we are in that oneness through the dark side. Okay. And if you think about the moon, right, and it has a side that's full of light, and there's a side that's full of darkness. If you were to walk around that orb, you would go through the darkness, and you would eventually end up back in the light. And so it's. I think about like the whole Star Wars, story is that the Sith are essentially looking at learning by going through the dark path, right? It's not the choice that I would make, but it is another path to learning, and eventually you have to come back into the light. So I don't know if that answers his question or not, but
no, actually, I guess what he just put on here, no, he says, look it up. He's talking 95% of everything is dark matter and dark energy, and 5% is what we see.
Yeah, so, I mean, the way that I look at that is that what we're really here doing is matter exists, right? But it exists in space, and the element of air is what fills that space. And so, when you really boil it down, all of it is all light, and so we're really looking at probably more space and emptiness than we are at matter. And part of what we're learning how to do is to manipulate that matter, and once we can start doing that with ourselves, we can also use it on everything else that's in our environment, right? So, like, I was talking about, I'm doing a class on elementals right now, and it is, they were talking about the idea that elementals, how they can walk through walls. And what they do is they pull all of their matter inward, and it allows them to be lighter. And so we can learn how to do that in the same way.
Right. Final question, and then we'll, when an animal such as a dog or a cat, when it becomes their time, they do kind of let us know. And so when we do get somebody to come and help to, help them on to the next world and everything, they don't hold that against somebody, right? I mean, that's something that they know that we're responsible for them in helping them, and they know that we do that for love and for understanding, correct?
Well, I think as long as it's done out of love and understanding, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, there's a lot of people who aren't treating animals with love and understanding, and I think there's no greater crime in the world than that, karmically. But yes, I mean, animals are, when they let you know when they're ready to go.
Right.
And
yeah,
in most cases, right? And
they definitely do.
And so, no, I don't think that there's anything bad connected to that at all.
Awesome. Kimberly, you got a quick question, then we're done?
So can I go back to, like shadows? Bobby, I just want to go back real quick. Like shadow, do you think they're all evil? Like shadows that go through houses and stuff? Do you believe that it's all evil?
No,
I don't. Okay, that's what I thought. Okay.
No, I don't think we really know in a lot of cases what we're seeing. We could be getting glimpses into other dimensions. We could be getting glimpses of other beings. It's too hard to tell.
Exactly.
So, Jared, I wanted to just give my info out if I could do that real
go
quick.
for it real quick. Here.
I do readings and past life regression and healing work, both in person and over the phone or over Skype. And my website is BobbyOSullivan.com, BobbyOSullivan. And my email is BobbyOSullivan@mac.com.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Bobby, so much.
Yes,
thank you, Kimberly. And thank you, everybody, for listening, and we appreciate it. Sarge, you're the best. Para-X is where it's at. And everybody's staying tuned right now because you do have Geeks Paranormal coming up next. We appreciate you all, and we'll see you all next week.